Most people think that taxes will go up during their retirement, maybe not over the next 4 years if the Trump tax bill stays in effect. But that being said, this is a great time while taxes are lower, the lowest they've been since the early 1980s, to actually do some Roth conversions.
And welcome into Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's certified financial planning professional, Tim Stearns, CFP, your common sense resource for information on how to plan effectively and efficiently for your financial investment and retirement future. And he is president and founder of TJ Stearns Inc., located in Arlington Heights, and a proactive resource for savers and investors throughout the Chicagoland area and beyond. And Tim, we always appreciate the insights that you share with us here on Protect and Grow. How have things been for you?
Peter, they've been really good. It's been an interesting election cycle, as you know. So some good things out there that are happening as far as hopefully we're going to see this income tax bill not be, expiring, but actually getting extended, which I think is great because one of the things that a lot of people are coming into our office and talking to us about are, what are the biggest retirement expenses? And how do I control some of those? Because, the chances of being in a 20, 30-year retirement are good nowadays. So that's why I came up with a list with the three biggest retirement expenses and, how to plan to control them.
Well, adding up all of the cost of retirement, it's pretty expensive, and it's in the future, so it's more expensive than it is today. And Tim, if we are planning on retiring with confidence, we've walked away from the paycheck. We've only got a finite amount of money. We've got a
Yep.
few different sources of income, and how to generate that income is a big question. But on the other side, understanding where we're going to be spending that money and the expenses that we will face throughout retirement is certainly part of balancing that equation and making sure that we are staying between some guardrails and in a path and trajectory that our money is going to last us through retirement and beyond. We may not want to pass away and leave a huge amount of wealth behind. Maybe we do. Those goals are individual to the specific person. But regardless, I know that we don't want to run out during our lifetimes. And so we've got to plan effectively. And again, part of that is going to be to understand the expenses that we are going to have to face and address into and throughout retirement. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why you need that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan. It helps you address what those expenses are, what they will likely be into the future, and then planning effectively and efficiently to make sure that you have leveraged your money to address those expenses, to make sure that you've got those covered in a written plan, in a written document, not just this month and next month, but for the years and decades to stretch throughout retirement. And if you would like to put that plan together, many people have investments, many people have the tools for growth and accumulation, but very few people have actually sat down and mapped out how their money is going to last throughout retirement, how they're going to address these expenses. And that's the value of the Protect and Grow written retirement income plan that Tim Stearns, CFP, puts together there for savers and investors at TJ Stearns Inc. And again, if you would like to have that plan, it is no cost, no obligation. All you need to do is pick up the phone and give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. And you can go online, tjstearns.com, tjstearns.com. Now, Tim, before we get into these three biggest expenses, talk to us, if you would, just about the value that you think it presents to savers and investors and proactive planners of having a plan in place, and how that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan may be different than what a lot of savers and investors have experienced.
Well, the difference to me is that when we have people come in with something that maybe another advisor did for them, in many cases, it's just a money management package, where they're showing them that if they do this, that, and the other thing in the market, then their money should last till X years. and they don't encompass in there their Social Security, what the cost of their expenses really are. They don't make them get their house in order as far as what are the bills going to truly be. They don't tease it up with inflation. There's a lot of things that are missing in there. And so I think the difference is our protect and grow. We kind of look underneath all the rocks and make sure that we got it under control. So that, people understand exactly what they're getting themselves involved in. Because I talk about this in our classes that, the last thing you want to do is guess wrong and figure out in your 80s that you don't have enough money for retirement for you and your spouse. And that, what are you going to do? Go back to work? I mean, that's not a thing. So then the next thing you know, you're relying on family, friends, and maybe, God forbid, the government, and they've got their own problems. So we want to make sure that people get it right the first time. And by doing an all-encompassing plan, that's how it's done.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like that protect and grow written retirement income plan, I think it presents such a value and opportunity for savers and investors, Tim, to have a guideline to understand where the range of comfort should be in spending. Not you can't do this, you can't buy that, but I have the freedom to buy this and do that and take that trip or buy that gift or go see that loved one or buy that thing that I've always wanted. Maybe it's a boat or a vacation home. I don't know. People have different goals than I envision for retirement, but whatever it is for them, for you, ladies and gentlemen, to have a plan that says you've got the freedom to do that and still stay on track. I think that is the value of that protect and grow written retirement income plan. Also showing you ways that, as the name would imply, you can protect your wealth and you can continue to grow it throughout retirement. Again, at a time when we have stopped earning a paycheck, stopped contributing in most cases to retirement accounts, and begun to make withdrawals and take distributions and create income from it, how can you protect and continue to grow your wealth? You need a specific plan for that period of time, and that's what the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Income Plan will provide for you, is the guidelines and the instructions on how to do that. So pick up the phone, give a call to Tim Stearns, CFP, your certified financial planning professional partner, the one who created the Protect and Grow plan and who has helped so many Chicagoland area proactive planners, savers, and investors construct that plan for lasting financial confidence. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. Tim, the very fact that we are going to be spending money out of our savings and our investment portfolio is one of the top reasons why there is so much worry and doubt and concern in retirement. The fear of running out of money remains to be one of retirees' biggest concerns. So how do we know if we've saved enough? How do we know that we can make that last if we do not have such a plan in place?
Well, think about this. In a baby boomer's psyche right now, they are the first people that really had 401ks in the late 70s, early 80s, right? When they started their careers. So they had their parents go through, the greatest generation, as they call it, go through retirement with pensions and savings, and they probably did very well for themselves. And now the baby boomers are coming to the end of the road where they're going to start to be able to retire, and they have a finite amount of money. They're going to be a net seller of assets. So they need to have a plan. And with that comes expenses. And so we need to go into that and figure out exactly what are your expenses and what are the top three.
And Tim, in addition to the greatest generation having those pensions, I would also say, and maybe this is kind of a gross generalization, but the baby boomer generation is more active. They are more expensive. They are doing activities in
Right.
retirement that they plan on continuing to fund and spend money out of their personal savings and investments rather than out of that pension income. Yes, the greatest generation, they had savings, they were savers. A lot of them, had still kind of the philosophy and psychology of the Great Depression, where they pinched every penny and stored it away and never wanted to spend it. Whereas the baby boomer generation, by and large, has been saving, and many of them done a great job in amassing more personal wealth than any generation ever before in those 401ks. And thanks to those 401ks. But in many cases, that's not giving them the same kind of confidence in
No.
maintaining the lifestyle that the greatest generation had through the pensions.
Right. And if you saw the other day, there was that report that came out that less than 30% of baby boomers are living the dream, as they say, in retirement. And that begs the question, why is that? So I think it is the lack of having a plan that makes them keep them up at night, to make sure that they're getting it done.
Well, again, having that written income plan, the protect and grow plan, the only way to combat the possibility of expenses potentially catastrophically exceeding assets and income producing ability. That's why you need to have that protect and grow written retirement income plan. Got to understand both the baseline operating expenses and the additional expenses that you envision encountering and have a reliable plan to address those for lasting financial security. If you'd like that protect and grow written retirement income plan, helping you review and evaluate all of your assets, the expenses, the fees, the costs, the risk that they are exposed to, and maybe most importantly for this, how they can be aligned and positioned to effectively generate the income that you need to sustain, maintain your standard of living, your quality of life, your comfort and confidence throughout retirement. Again, 800-640-2256, the number to call. No cost, no obligation to get that protect and grow written retirement income plan put together. 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. So, Tim, as we are working and saving, and for many of us doing so inside of the 401k, we've been told just defer, delay, wait on paying taxes. And ultimately, a lot of us have sort of forgotten about the tax implications. We've built up this lump sum, but expense number one on your list, what is likely our largest known expense in retirement, particularly for this baby boom generation, taxes. How do we address and tackle the question of the expense of taxes in retirement?
Well, we ask people usually when we meet with them, what do you think your number one expense is? And they think it's healthcare. But in fact, to your point, it is taxes because most of them have built we'll call it a tax time bomb, right? That now they're going to start to pull out of money. And, the thoughts are always when you were younger, well, don't worry, taxes will be lower when you pull them out because you'll be in a lower tax bracket. But most people think the taxes will go up during their retirement, maybe not over the next 4 years if the Trump tax bill stays in effect. But that being said, this is a great time while taxes are lower, the lowest they've been since the early 1980s, to actually do some Roth conversions, to nibble on that tax bill. I think a lot of people don't understand what they have as a tax bill. So that's another thing that we offer people. If they want to give us a call, we're happy to run a tax report for them to see today what will the taxes look like over their lifetime in retirement. And so I
And
would tell them, give us a call and we're happy to run it.
And Tim, you actually have that website resource that's pretty cool where people can go online and see the rough numbers on their own.
Yep.
MVPCFP.com. MVP, like most valuable player, CFP, like certified financial planner.com, MVPCFP.com, the retirement tax bill calculator. Now, this is rough numbers and it will give people a heads up and in some cases, Tim, show a pretty significant bill, but also side by side, a pretty significant difference that can be achieved with proactive planning. However, you need to look at the specifics of your situation before acting on any kind of strategies, right? This is just for education purposes on what the numbers likely are or could be into the future.
Well, it's a snapshot of, what it can look like if they don't do anything about it. And it's to your point, rough numbers. And the analogy I always use is that if I walk up to someone like a baby boomer on the street and I say, what are your I'm sorry, what is your size of your portfolio right now? And they could tell you probably within 50 grand, depending on when they had looked in the last day or so. But if you ask them over your retirement, how much are your tax bills going to be? They look at you with glazed over eyes. They have no clue. And so that's something that you need to, you wouldn't go buy a house without knowing what it's going to cost. You wouldn't go buy a car without that. So, your biggest expense in retirement is going to be taxes. Wouldn't you want to know going into it what that looks like?
And Tim, we have been taught over the course of the last generation to delay paying those taxes, to
Yep.
defer paying taxes on our retirement dollars because taxes would be lower into the future. I don't think that that advice has been wrong
No,
because taxes have come down. It's just now is the time to look at that a little differently and perhaps begin the steps of managing that tax bill, what you're talking about, right?
exactly. Attack it, and take a look at what if I did something today to mitigate my taxes for the future. I'd also go one step further. If you are currently working, look into these 401k Roths. And some of them are now having after dollars with the profit sharing even. So a Roth component to that they're allowed because of Secure Act 2.0. So these are the things that we're talking to our clients about because why would you want to pay more than your fair share of taxes? I don't know anyone, regardless of party affiliation, who wants to pay more for taxes.
Now,
So
I'm sorry. Now, Tim, I know that there are some limits and limitations on getting money into Roths, right? And that's what we're talking about here in managing taxes. I know that there are other strategies to do so, but in large part, the Roth IRA, a fantastic opportunity to manage taxes. Although there could be many listeners, savers, investors who are saying to themselves, I don't have the ability to get money into a Roth. I make too much. The
right.
401k doesn't have those income limits,
No.
right?
The 401k does not, the 403b Roth, and even some municipalities offer 457s that don't have that limitation. The other one you can look at is obviously to do Roth conversions, which regardless of income, you're able to do that.
There is a limit on putting new money in, right? This
Yes.
is this is splitting hairs. This is the definitions of words mattering, right? The contributions, a new
Yeah.
contribution, putting new money into that Roth account might have an income limit, but a conversion, you could convert over as much as you want, no matter how much you make. In fact, I'm sure the government, if we made a pretty high income and we're in a high tax bracket, would love us to convert over a large Roth. And Tim, that's where taking a look at that retirement tax bill calculator at nvpcfp.com can be helpful,
Yeah.
but we want to consult an experienced qualified professional in order to manage that tax bill in the best way possible because we don't want to make any missteps and cost ourselves more than necessary.
Well, and it begs the question, why not go through the exercise to see what those numbers look like? With our CPA on staff, that's obviously something that we can do for people. Um, we just know that it makes sense to try to mitigate taxes as much as you can before you're going into retirement.
Yeah, I'm notoriously a frugal shopper in my household, Tim. I get told that I should not come shopping because I just turn everything down and say, no, we don't need that, put it back. No, we don't need that, put it back.
I've
But if
heard the
I,
same thing about myself.
yeah, but if I walk into a department store, Tim, and there is something that I want, and on one rack, it's their full price. And then the same item with no damage is sitting on the rack right next to it, marked 25% off. I'm probably going to pick that one up from the sale rack, right? The 25% off. However, being the frugal shopper that I am, I might look at it and say, even though it's a good price, I still don't need it and put it back. However, taxes are a compulsory purchase.
Yep.
We don't have that option. It's pay me now or pay me later. So why not buy them when they're on sale? And that's sort of where we're at right now, right?
The term I've been telling people is taxes are artificially low right now. The income taxes. So your income tax rates are artificially low. Why not take advantage of it?
Historically low.
Oh, historically, right. The last time they were this low was in the 80s, and before that was the 1920s. So these are opportunities that we should not just look a gift horse in the mouth and do something about it.
Okay. Well, again, this is part of the protect and grow income planning process, ladies and gentlemen, is keeping as much of your money matters. Being effective with taxes is as efficient as shooting for higher returns, but carries with it far less risk. It's not what you have there. It's what you get to keep. It's what you get to spend. Taxes probably our largest known expense in retirement. So have a plan specifically that helps you identify that cost and then works and plans effectively to control it. That is the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Income Plan. And if you'd like that, pick up the phone and give a call. No cost, no obligation to get that put together with the help and the assistance of a certified financial planning professional, Tim Stern, CFP, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. Tim, number two, you did mention it. A lot of people's perception of what rightfully so, could be one of the largest expenses, but this is our largest potential expense. We don't know. But if we encounter healthcare expenses, they can be very significant.
Well, and it reminds me of I saw a lady speak a year ago, and she was talking about the happy smile of retirement, and what that was is tracking people's spending habits. And so you have the beginning of the smile is the years where you're the go-go years, as they say, right? Where you're taking the trips that you never got to take because you were working and you're spending a lot of money. Then you start to go slow years, right? Which is the base of the smile, and then the expenses go back up. And why is that? And it's because of healthcare. So, I don't know if it's exactly a happy smile, but it definitely shows the point because people will say, well, I don't need that much in retirement. You might not need that much retirement because you won't be going on those trips at that point. But your healthcare costs, or God forbid, long-term care costs are going to be up, quite a bit. And you need to factor that into your retirement planning as well.
Again, if you want to address these costs, these expenses, and work a plan around them, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are proactive in addressing the known cost of taxes, the potential cost of healthcare, which can be catastrophic if left unaddressed. And again, we want to have money to last throughout the duration of our retirement and then some. To address the fear of running out of money in retirement, we have to have a plan that addresses these largest expenses and expenditures, the largest known expense of taxes, the largest potential expense of healthcare, and there are ways to address them. Maybe no perfect solution to any of these because they involve spending money. They are expenses, but there are ways to address them efficiently and effectively. And Tim Stern, CFP, can help you. Well-versed, experienced, qualified professional, and the designer of that Protect and Grow Written Retirement Income Plan for countless savers and investors across the Chicagoland area to help instill more confidence in your retirement lifestyle and quality of life. You've got to have a specific written plan. That is the Protect and Grow plan. Give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. We'll circle back, Tim, if we've got time to talk about a few of the strategies, the shortcomings, the pros, the cons of how we can address that largest potential expense of healthcare, but I don't want to miss any of these three. So the third is the silent thief. And we've seen a lot of this here recently. For a while, it was quiet, and then it started roaring. But we've got to include inflation as part of our retirement planning scenario.
Peter, the Fed wants to have it around 2%, and they're getting close to that. They're right at the mark. But historically, let's face the facts. Inflation's been over 3% since they've kept records. So whenever we're building a plan, we definitely move up the amount of money needed by 3% each year at least. I have clients who want 4 or 5% even because they think inflation can get really crazy. But that I'd rather, overestimate inflation than not estimate it at all. And a lot of these other plans that I've seen out there don't even take inflation into any category that they're doing. So inflation is the silent thief, as we call it. One of the reasons I'll point out to someone is saying, at 3%, my $5,000 today by 2030 will only buy me about $3,800 worth of goods to show the pain point.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that our money's increasing, and that's why we make sure that their income on the plan is increasing.
Yeah, that inflation works the same way as compound interest, right, Tim? There's
Absolutely.
kind of a rule for how long it takes your money to double, the rule of 72. Whatever the interest rate is, divide it into 72. That's how long your money would take to double. But the same is true for inflation. So at 3%, Tim, your expenses today are going to cost twice as much in about 24 years. And I'm actually going to throw kind of a fourth expense in here, Tim, just to mention that We love convenience in today's society. Convenience is expensive. And so there are things that we're probably going to add into today's expenses over the course of the next 10, 20, 30 years that are convenience expenses that we've got to also include in this inflation scenario.
Right. And I mean, we're seeing that left and right. With that convenience comes more cost. So that is one thing that we are making sure that we're trying to, as I said earlier, look under every rock as to what you're going to look at in expenses, because the last thing you want to do is forget something that could really add up on you in your retirement years.
Well, again, this is one of the top reasons that people are concerned about retirement is expenses could outlast and outpace income producing ability and assets. The fear of running out of money is serious, is significant. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, you have to have a specific plan to address them. A written income plan, the Protect and Grow plan, available only there at TJ Stearns Inc. From Tim Stearns, CFP. Tim, you've helped so many put together this written plan for instilling and having lasting confidence in the assets that we've saved and accumulated, covering those expenses and then some throughout retirement.
I'm happy to do it, Peter. I think it's, we show people that how they can get retired and stay retired. You'll have a client for life and a friend for life if you can show them the right way to get it done.
Well, if you would like that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan, ladies and gentlemen, the 4 pillars, always addressing the needs, your specific goals, desires, situation, all of the different factors and facets of your specifics are included into this. It is a created, customized plan specifically for you, and it is at no cost with no obligation. Just pick up the phone, give a call, and set up a convenient time for a retirement review, a retirement account review and analysis, and a planning strategy session with Tim Stearns, CFP. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. Tim, we always appreciate the time, the knowledge, the insight, the planning strategies that you share with proactive savers and conscientious planners here on the program.
Peter, thanks for having me.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.